In this video, we compare assignment creation for the three LMSs.
Some differences here. So in Brightspace, if I say I'm in my module that I want to add an assignment to, I click on the module, and then for a new assignment, click New and Assignment. There's more, that's just other things that you can do. We're not going to go into those. But so to create just a new assignment, click on New Assignment, and you obviously fill in all that information. You have the option to have it be ungraded or graded and due date. Of course, if you add a due date, it goes onto the calendar. If you don't, then it doesn't. Rich text editor again, so you can do whatever you want there. If you want to attach a Google file, then you can attach from your Google Drive here. If you want to embed one, it's somewhere here. It's your embed code, Google file embed. So we're in Brightspace, so again, we have a lot of options for releasing information. So we have start and end times. We can add release conditions again, so we can say users are not able to access or view the assignment unless, and then decide. They scored so much on this, they viewed this content, they turned this thing in. So you remember that long list of options? So those all can apply to an assignment. You also have special access. So here's where, and this would go under the student support team and DEI work as well, that I can assign this to just one student. I can assign it to a group of students. I can assign it to everyone or not everyone. So I have a lot of granularity here on who I can choose, who my users are going to be for that particular, who is going to be able to access that from one to all. Yes? You can, yes. Submission and completions, you're deciding individual group. If you've set out a category, what type of file submission. So it's also nice you have the option to, this is going to be something you don't even turn in, I'm going to see in person, but I still want it on the calendar, and I still want it in the gradebook. So I'm going to collect it, I'll score it, and then I'll put it in the gradebook. How many times they can submit, whether there are restrictions on the types of files they can submit. Somebody like 10 years ago gave me a Pages file in one of my classes, and I had no idea what to do with it. Of course, now I would, but then I had no idea. I didn't even know how to, anyway. So I can say restrictions. I can decide to be notified if they're turned in or not. Now I can decide, do I want to add a rubric that I have that exists, that's already been created? Do I want to make the annotation tools available? For annotating. I can decide if I want to use anonymous marking. This is a feature in Brightspace and Canvas, not Schoology, to do anonymous grading. Similar, maybe think of the example this morning of auditioning behind the sheet. So, and then there's an integration with Turnitin we won't talk about now. But so you have a lot of, you can deal with as many of these options or as few of these options as you want. Here you determine your visibility, and then that's it. You save and close, and you're good. So I'm going to discard them because I've already made several. We'll just look at them over here. So this is how I can add an assignment coming from modules. I can also go to assessments, go to assignments, and now I have the list of all of them. So I can create all the assignments for Unit 1 here at once, and then when I went back to my content, I would select Add Existing. And if I went to assignment, it would give me a list of all the assignments. I could decide the one I wanted. If I want to create a Google assignment, it feels counterintuitive, because it is. I would select, I would select Add Existing. This is just, for some reason, how they set up the LTI. We don't know why. But you select Add Existing, and maybe it's because, actually, now that I think about it, it makes more sense because you've already created that document in your Google Drive. So now you're adding an existing assignment. Light bulb. So you're adding existing, so then you go to third party. I'm getting my assignment from a third party, Google Assignments, and then it lets me attach what it is, competitive work if I want to do whatever I normally do in Google Assignments. Yes.
One of the things that I noticed painting Canvas, and I'm wondering if it's the same in Brightspace, one of the best advantages of Google Classroom is you create the assignment, every kid gets a copy of it automatically, right? And creates a folder for them for that assignment. If you upload a Google Doc to Brightspace, like embed it, whatever, somehow, does it have the ability when you create the assignments to automatically make a copy for each one of the kids? Rather than like file, make the copy, then the kid has to resubmit it to you.
No, if it's not a Google assignment.
Okay, so you have to build it in Google and then.
It has to be a
convert it.
Google assignment, yes. Yeah.
Double work.
It has to be on
And I think that's true across all
all
three,
three.
right?
It
Yeah.
has to be a Google assignment. It turns out that I'll show you.
Okay, yeah. Same thing with assessments that aren't homework. You can go through assessments, go to quizzes, create your quizzes here, or you can go through content and create new, oh, and there was a quiz already over there, and select quiz. So just two different ways to get to the same place. So you remember in Brightspace, the student view is seeing that launch unit, so they're not getting these lists where they have to, go to the assignment list or whatever. They're having it all sort of consolidated in one place. As they scroll through, that will take them to the next information, the next information. Canvas, am I on my test course? Yes. So we would need to go to modules to get to where all that content is. Of course, again, students could go to assignments. If they go to that tab, then they're going to see the list. If they go to modules, they'll see the hierarchical list and they'll see where the quiz falls in. So here is the Kahoot quiz. And again, the way to do that is here, add assignment, quiz, yada yada. And then, so you can select one that already existed because you created it using that tab, or you can create the new one here, give it a name. Creates it here for you as the shell. When you click through, it takes you to that kind of assignment repository. And now you added all the details, including rubrics. Schoology. Go back to materials. So, no, actually here. Add materials, assignment or assessment. Here's a very prominent, I should have showed you the Google assignments. I'll go back to Canvas in a minute, but here's a prominent, create your Google assignments right here in your face. Again, you have the rich text editor where you can do all of those things, the video, et cetera, et cetera. Set your scale, your rubrics, just choose standards. If we put in, say, the competency-based, I think I put a couple examples in here so that you could select, okay, this is, has to do with this, to align them. And then your options, you can individually assign, again, like we could in Brightspace. Submissions are enabled, it's published, et cetera, et cetera. Let's pop back to Canvas because I missed, what did I say I missed? Oh, adding the Google assignments. So that you find under submission type. So it would be external tool and Google assignments altogether. And then you go through that process again, logging in, and pops up that window again, like in the other one. I want to give you a quick peek at the different kinds of quiz types. Go to quiz. We're in Canvas. No, sorry, we're in Brightspace. We're in Brightspace. So here, add and edit questions. So you can import quizzes in. It's a very specific and particular format for doing so, but it is possible because it has to match up with the question types that exist already in Brightspace. But you have this variety of question types, which we won't go into, we just don't have time, but there's a wide variety. You go to, yes?
Do you know how easy it is to Because like with Spanish, for example, like the PowerPoint's super time consuming. You create sort of a framework for questioning and answering, and I just want to copy and paste that quiz, like save as and then change some things sometimes, or for like a revision or another version.
I remember you had that question before, and I did look at it. I don't have it for the demo, but you can copy assignments across classes in all 3 of the platforms, I believe. And you can import, like we said, there's options for importing. So that was one of the criteria we looked at, is how shareable is content sort of across the classes you have, and it's possible in each of them. In Canvas, in Canvas they have a way that you can actually kind of send things. So that's under here, because I sent something to myself and shared content. In Brightspace, I think it's more of a like a learning repository that you can put things in, and then you can go grab them.
Okay, and then similar to that, at the end of a course, it would be, ideally, as we create a new course based on an old one, we just want blank copies of all those assessments as well to be available. That would be.
Why don't you put that question in so I can give you a 100% true answer? My guess is that they would be preserved, but I want to give you a tried, a tested answer, so that's a good one. Okay, so that was, I wanted to show you, I showed you the question types here in Brightspace, right? Is that what I just showed you? Yes. And so now, let's look at question types. Sorry, I lost my bearings here. Let's just do a new one. Oh, right here. There's a tab for questions. And so we have these different options here in Canvas for question types. And then again, it's the file upload. Okay, and again, the rich text editor everywhere.
And with the quizzes, I mean, again, one of the beautiful things with these various being able to set conditions is that, you know, if you had some kids that were going to get 50% time, you could set the condition that they got longer on the quiz and only those kids saw that particular quiz, and then everybody else saw the regular time limit. Or you would change things around where you're giving a quiz just to a couple of kids, set all of that.
Yeah, and that actually ties into Mastery Paths, which it falls under the student support team and DEI stuff. That this particular assignment I didn't set them up for, but Mastery Paths are ways, things that happen, so depending on the range that students score, they might have something different to do next. So here, in the 70 to 100% range, I can decide, okay, they're gonna do this next, because they already are showing mastery of that material. But if they scored between 0 and 40, they're going to go back to, you know, this, or maybe this is some supplementary stuff I want them to practice first. I want to take this other quiz and see where they are before they move on. So a lot of individual ideas. Mastery paths are similar to the individual learning paths of Brightspace. It's the exact same concept of giving particular things. In Brightspace, it's handled under the release conditions. So that's where you can say, if you scored this much, then this opens up for you. If you scored this much, this opens up for you. In Canvas, it's handled as mastery paths, so not as the student completion goal. So they had a narrow list of things that you could do in terms of publishing the original content, but then they have these options for moving people to different places after scoring on things. And I didn't show you the assessment types here yet, so let's just take a quick look, and then I will be done. You'll get to hear from somebody else. Okay, I don't need to name it. Okay, so got a lot of settings. So this is different. These kinds of settings are different from the O2 platforms where you can decide a student can flag questions for review. They can eliminate answer choices. They can highlight text. They can use a notepad. There's a time limit or there isn't. Randomly order. So you have some other kinds of options. Questions here. I think it's a longer list of question types for quizzes, including file upload. So just something else to think about. Then you see, here it's very explicit that you can add from a test bank. It's explicitly listed here, although it's possible in the other platforms as well. Okay, that ends my portion. Yes.
Have you had a chance to mess with looking at responses and how clunky that is? To see, like looking at assignments in Power School takes forever, right? So you click on it and
I'll
go.
show you
So
some.
yes, Heather is up next. Do you want to plug in?
Yeah, just one thing that I was just gonna mention, because you're about, like, the next piece was creating assignments. And I thought I would just kind of tell you with the Google assignment. So are people familiar with what Google Assignments does in this Google Classroom? So the idea being that you give an assignment, it goes out to all of the kids, it's shared with you, you can watch their progress, you see it there. When they turn it in, it closes, they no longer can access it, right? So that integrates with all three of the platforms. It's super natural with, like, Schoology has created an actual integration within there, and it's very easy. You saw there was that one little button. Brightspace is clunky. You can't add an assignment and then just bring in Google Assignments. You have to go to this Add Existing, and then Canvas is kind of in between. Canvas allows you to add an assignment, and then you have to do that external tool to get to it. So Google Assignments, I'd say Schoology like hits the mark. Canvas is kind of like middle, and then Brightspace is the most healthiest.